Hello, this is a video demo of the Resume Builder edition for TiddlyWiki 5. And this is an empty version of the wiki, like you would download if you got it off of the main website. And the main parts of the screen there are control buttons along the top. There is your main working area here on the left, and on the right this is a preview of your finished resume. So to start, you go to Resume Wizard. You can either click here on the help page. This help page gives information about how things work, or you can click on the Resume Wizard button up at the top. Clicking on this button or any of the buttons up along the top will always open up their window. So when you get an empty wiki, there will only be one resume there. It will be the default resume. You can add a new resume by typing in a name here, and then click on Add Resume. You still have to select the resume that you are working on here, so if you want to use what you just added, you have to click on that from the drop-down menu. Now, the resume over here has all of the default settings, so you can decide which sections are visible or not by clicking on these checkboxes next to the section name. And you can also change the template used by that section by using these drop-down selections. At the moment there are not many different templates available, but hopefully that will the number will increase in the future. You can also change the order in which the sections are displayed by changing the numbers here, and it will move them around as you do it. You will be able to change all of these options again after you have entered your information, so you don't need to worry too much about making any settings here. The only thing that you do need to worry about is each one has to have a template selected, or else it won't display over here. Like if you make no template for the education section disappears. And the visible sections have to be checked here. If you have a checked section unchecked, then it will not show up in the next part of the wizard. This is by design so that you only have to worry about sections that you want to use. So you click here to get started, and you give it a title. You can select down here from the titles that you have already entered. By default, there's Use Your Name, which will put your name as the resume title, or Resume, which is, just says Resume. So you can put in some title, and then click Add Title, and it will be added to the list. And you can select the title that you want to use, and then click on Next Section, which brings us to the contact information. This is pre-populated with some mostly nonsense things. I'm Jedediah Cardi, which is why that's here, but we can do some name. And as you can see, it is updated over in the preview in real time as you change things here, so you can see what your resume will look like. And then next to the objective, you have the name and the objective. The name is what you use to identify it, and then the objective is your objective. So do objective 1, and we have to get a job. Nice and simple. Then add the objective. And then once again, you select your objective down here. If you have multiple objectives, and then you can select between them. And once again, over here, it updates immediately when you select your objective. And you can go back to previous sections if you want to update your information. So the next section for education, this one has a lot of inputs. You just have your degree level, so we'll say there's a BS in peanut shelling at some institution, and an address. I'm just putting in nonsense things here, so we go $20.99, and you can either, if you're currently working on something, you click here, or you can just put in a date here. And clicking here will say show GPA, so we'll do 2.01, why not? And then you click on add your education, and it will display over here. And once again, if you have multiple things, we'll just put some junk in here to get multiple things. Add education, then they will show up. The check mark next to them will toggle the display if it is there or not. The order will change the order. And finally, the little trash can icon will delete that item. So there's your education section. Then you have previous employment, job title, some employer, and some dates, or 1910, why not? And add employment, same as in the education section. You have the visible, the order, and the delete options, and they show up immediately over there. Then skills and expertise, we do some skill, add skill, and same as before, you have delete, make it visible or not, or the order options. Now this is the last section that is available on the default resume. So after the last section, you can continue to options, which once again gives you the layout options that you had at the beginning in case you have changed your mind about the order you want things to be in. So we'll do like 6 here. And then your contact information is a completely inappropriate place, so we'll make that 2 again. But you can change your education so that it is after your previous employment, or however you would like that to be. Now each section also has its options. Most of these sections don't have very many options yet because this is new. As new sections get added, more options will be added as well. So you can change your title from here if you would like to. And then contact information, you can show the date or not, enter a date, use current date. Those are should all be relatively self-explanatory. Then the objective, you can select which objective you want to use, and the same thing for all of the other options. And then we click on the print button, and I am not actually certain that you can see this, but it will open up a new window that displays the resume, and then you can print this to a PDF file, or actually print it or not as you wish. Well, it does not look like it. This actually is formatted reasonably for either letter or A4 sized paper, so that works out nicely. And that is the Resume Wizard section of this. And at any time during this, regardless of what section you're working on during the wizard, there's the Back to Start button, which if you click will bring you back to the start. And you can select which resume you want to work on and continue moving as before. If you have an existing resume, now that we have populated our resume with a little bit, you can click on Edit Existing Items, and then for each section you have the option to input new data. You can set visibility and change the order just like in the Resume Wizard, but you can jump around to whichever section you would like. And then Resume Options is the same as the options in the Resume Wizard, where you can change the layout and the order and options for each section. And then Preview, if you want for some reason to see the preview in the main working area instead of over on the side, that will display your preview on the side. Help will open up the Help section, which is where it will start when you open up your wiki. Print is the same print as before. And then there's a Save button, which will save all of your progress in the wiki. This is saving the wiki itself, not the output. To save the output, you need to use the Print button here and then save what pops up. And that is the Resume Builder. So I hope that you can use it well and have enjoyed this.